Winter has well and truly arrived in the UK. So it's cold, dark, and depressing. Not my favorite time of year at all. But it doesn't have to be that bad. And with 6 key upgrades and changes to your road bike, you too can survive winter and get through the next few months unscathed and hopefully enjoy it a bit as well. So I plan to use my CAD 12 here, which I rebuilt over the summer. And while it's not the perfect winter bike, it's an ideal bike because it's inexpensive, it's tough and durable. But let's make some changes and get the bike winter ready. So let's dive in. First up, tyres. It's crazy to ride your expensive race tyres through the winter. They wear out more quickly and they are more prone to punctures than a winter tyre like this, a Pirelli P04S. Many others available from well-known tyre manufacturers. I'll put a link to some down below the video. So a tyre designed for winter riding has a rubber compound better suited to low temperatures and also more grip in wet conditions. And also has more puncture protection as well, with extra layers of material underneath the tread pattern to ensure you don't get a puncture when it's cold. That's the last thing you really want. Of course, tubeless is a good way to avoid punctures, but if you prefer inner tubes, that's fine. Use whatever you want. I also recommend going as wide as your bike will take. These sadly are 28s because the bike is quite old, but many road bikes and especially endurance and gravel bikes let you fit a nice wide tyre. So 30, 32, 35 or wider at low pressures, and you get more traction, more comfort, and just have a nice experience riding through the crappy conditions. So tyres are the first upgrade on my road bike to winterize it, to make sure it can cope with the crappy roads in the UK. The other essential for me at this time of year are some Mudguards. Now they're not cool, and they're definitely not sexy, but once you tried them, you can't go back. They keep you dry when riding in the rain and also stop all that crap on the roads, which around here means kind of mud and sheep poo that runs into the road from spraying into your face. So they make a lot of sense. Now this is a proper full-length mudguard with a flap, but sadly doesn't fit this frame because it doesn't have mudguard eyelets, little mounts down by the dropouts and up here in chainstays that these can clip onto. But many bikes do, many endurance bikes do, many gravel bikes do as well, so plenty of options. But for a road bike that can't take those sort of mudguards, there are other options. So you can get many plastic clip-on mudguards like these from Saver, and there are many on the market these days. These ones are very simple. Simply have a plastic band that goes around the rear stays, hooks in place like that, and there you go. You have some mudguards on your road bike. Now these aren't so good for the person behind you, so you ride in a group or a club, not great. But if you ride on your own, your Billy No Mates, that'll just stop a lot of the spray from coming off that rear wheel onto your bum. Not good as a full-length mudguard, but better than nothing. And there are loads of options on the market these days as well. I'll put some links to my favorites down below. Right, next up, some lights. Front lights, rear lights, as bright as you need for the riding you're doing. Even during the daytime here in the UK when it's cloudy and overcast and not very light, I have always a rear light and often a smaller light, a bit smaller than this one, just so other motorists, other road users can see me more easily when visibility is low. All about safety. And when you are riding at night time, of course, you need lights to see where you're going. So a nice, powerful front light. This is an Exposure Diablo, good enough to see where you're going on a country lane. But you can get a much bigger light with several thousand lumens if you want to really see where you're going. And there are loads of lights on the market. You can spend a fortune on lights if you want, or you can spend as little money as you want. But in my experience, cheap lights tend to not last very long. Either water gets inside or they fall apart. So high quality, more expensive lights are a better investment. They're not sponsoring this video, but Exposure, a British company, are one of my favorites. Really high quality lights, made to last, good customer service as well. I've got some lights that are over 10 years old and are still working just fine. So choose the lights to suit your budget and requirements, whether riding during the daytime, for daytime riding safety, or at night time if you're commuting, or if you're going off-road riding on your gravel bike and you want lights to see where you're going in the woods. I normally put this on a seat post, but the work stand is in the way, but it goes on the seat stay there. and then the front's light. So the bike is getting towards being ready for winter grinding. So lights on, tyres and mudguards. We're halfway through this video. Now a quick break to tell you about today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform that makes it super easy and quick to build a professional looking, slick website for any purpose. Whether you run a bike shop and need an online store to take payments for the products you're selling, with Squarespace, that's all there, it's very easy. Tick a few options and hey presto, you have an online shop. Or if you run online classes and need a booking system, you want to start a newsletter, start a blog, run a gallery for photos, there is a solution on Squarespace for any website you need. And building a website really is simple. You can even use AI to do the hard work for you. Simply answer a few questions and a bespoke website is built for you in seconds. Or if you prefer, choose a template and then customize that template to suit your needs and requirements. And you find out how easy it is right now with a free trial, link down below in the description of today's video. And if you enjoy it, there's a discount code on screen right now for any website or domain purchases. Right, back to winterizing my road bike. Now, as much as I love riding outdoors in any weather, and the changes to the bike help me ride through any conditions, there are times when a smart trainer is a very sensible backup option. Either it's dark, it's just too grim outside, or it's icy. And when it's icy, it's definitely safer to stay indoors, and smart trainers make indoor training way better than it's ever been before. In the old days, you had a dumb trainer, you had a control unit on the handlebar, and you followed a sort of pyramid training structure, and it's very tough to get beyond 30 minutes or an hour. But these days, smart trainers with all the software applications available, you can spend many hours on there if you want. But an hour on a smart trainer is very effective, it's very efficient, a great use of your time, and sometimes easier than going outside. You get fully dressed up in your winter clothing, make sure your lights are charged and tyres are inflated. And these days, smart trainers are much more affordable, and there are some really cheap options out there, making it even more accessible. And it's always worth checking second-hand markets like eBay or Facebook Marketplace, as there are loads of second-hand smart trainers out there. So rather than buy a brand new shiny one, buy a second-hand one, and they're pretty reliable these days, not much go wrong. So a second-hand smart trainer is a good idea. If you are determined to ride outdoors, and I'm sure you probably are, then definitely time to invest in a good winter jacket, which sounds obvious, I know. But one of the big advances I've seen in cycling over the last 20 or 30 years is clothing. Clothing that makes it easier to ride in any weather and not overheat, not be too cold, and have ample protection from whatever the weather throws your way. And I'm sponsored by Castelli, the channel is sponsored by Castelli, but there are other brands out there to suit your budget and taste as well. But Castelli make excellent clothing. Race proven, innovation in terms of fabrics and textiles and fit, and a range of colors as well. I do like a bright jacket that stands out, not bright yellow, but a bright jacket that looks classy as well. And what this modern clothing has done is make it easier to dress as well. When I started riding bikes, it's all about layering. The base layer, mid layer, and an outer hard shell. But that gone out the window, in my opinion, because fabrics like this mean you can get away with just a base layer, short sleeve or long sleeve, and one of these jackets over the top, and you'll be the perfect temperature. You have all the protection you need from the rain and the wind, and definitely makes life a lot easier. So treat yourself to a nice new jacket, and definitely good motivation to ride in the winter months. The other thing I would advise in the winter months is to not ride your fancy, expensive carbon race bike, but ride something a bit cheaper, like my Cat 12, a second-hand bike that cost me 400 quid. And because it's so cheap, I don't mind riding it through the winter, grinding it through the salt and ice and crappy conditions, because it didn't cost a lot of money. I'm not precious about the bike at all. So better to wear out this bike than my expensive aero race bike. The other option as well is to buy a gravel bike or a mountain bike. And I'm a big fan of mountain biking in the winter. Most pro roadies switch their road bike for a mountain bike in the winter because riding a mountain bike is a good workout. The riding off-road is more interesting than 6 hours on a road bike in grim conditions. You've got the technical aspect of riding trails and single track. You get a full body workout from muscling the bike around the roots and rocks on a trail. and you do 2 hours, 3 hours, and you get a really good solid workout and a good aerobic workout as well. So riding a mountain bike through the winter is something I strongly recommend. Mixing up the mountain biking with the road riding, with the bike all set up now, with tyres, mudguard, and lights and other bits and bobs. So I have 2 options to get me through the next few months of cold, dark, depressing weather. Anyway, those are my tips for equipping the bike ready for winter. Let me know what your tips are by dropping a comment down below. What are products you can't get through winter without? Love to hear your thoughts as always. And don't forget to check out Squarespace using the link down below if you need a shiny website. But that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again very soon.